What's up, everyone? It's Dakota, and welcome back to another Magic the Gathering video. And typically on Mondays, we do go over a modern deck in the format, whether it's one of the more top performing decks or something that's kind of brand new and exciting that kind of helps shake up the metagame a little bit, or at least deserves having some eyes kind of put on it to see what is going on and was making it successful. We did get a pretty major announcement today, and something that I don't think a lot of people were expecting, and of course, with kind of the nature of things going on, we're going to talk about the future of Commander. Now, typically, I don't talk about Commander on my channel. Very, very rarely do I ever bring it up, even though I do acknowledge that it is probably one of the most popular formats available to Magic players, and definitely the format that gets pushed a lot, from WOTC, where, even our direct to modern set in Modern Horizons 3 had Commander decks that maybe had cards that were going to be modern legal or cards that were previously modern legal, but nonetheless, the full decks, there's definitely some cards in there that were not legal for the modern format. And we just had to have a commander set, for that without having the cards being legal, or with most of the cards being legal. But, I digress. This is kind of a surprise announcement. The community seems pretty shaken up by this, and there are some pretty prominent figures as well that have kind of voiced some concerns of something like this happening. But I think overall, most people kind of see this as a necessity, but quite frankly for the wrong reasons. And kind of the bad part when you have a community that is as diehard as something like the Commander community. But of course, before we get into the article written by Wizards of the Coast and kind of explaining the future of Commander and things like that, if you're not subscribed to the channel and you want to see more videos from me, where we mainly do videos on the Modern and Pioneer format, as well as doing some other longer form videos. So if any of that interests you, please consider subscribing and ring that notification bell so you know when those videos get posted. It's a free, easy way to support me and my content. And if you would like to go even further, in the description down below, I'll have a link to this article here. I'll have a link to my Discord server if that is something that you want to go over there and join. And if you are interested in kind of getting into Moto and play testing, maybe some more competitive modern decks or Pioneer decks, or even just wanting to play Magic with your friends, anything like that, considering following my link in the description down below for a Mana Trader subscription. If you follow that link and kind of sign up for their subscription service, you pick which one you want, you'll end up getting 5% off your subscription, which is a really neat little bonus. And of course, some of it goes into supporting the channel as well. You don't have to do that, but it's something that something is really cool. And Mana Traders is something that I've used for quite a long time. So I want to say it with 2 different stints, like close to 5 years of using Mana Traders, and they've only improved their services. They have a free tournament that you can participate in every month where they give out cash prizes. Now, overall, I think it's a great service. They definitely do a lot for the people that rent through their services, and if they ever have any problems, they definitely take care of you. So consider, if you don't already have a Mana Traders account, consider making one today. And like I said, that going and signing up for them, helping to kind of expand your horizons of decks that you want to play in whatever format that you choose to play in. You'll also be supporting the channel as well, which I do greatly appreciate. Anyway, that was long-winded enough. Let's go ahead and talk about the future of Commander. So, here in this article, we talk about, or they talk about, the past few week, or the past week has been tumultuous for Commander fans, the members of the Commander Rules Committee, the Magic community as a whole. Along the way, we've seen players and fans share a diverse range of passionate opinions, far too many of which were harmful and malicious. For those of you that kind of don't know what's going on, I probably should have explained this before even starting the article. So the week prior, or at least the Monday, I believe this would be the 23rd, there was a Commander ban and restricted announcement, and for whatever reason, the Rules Committee gets to decide the casual ban list as well as the competitive ban list, which is already kind of weird to begin with, but whatever, Magic is Magic. So they came out with a ban list that essentially banned Dockside Extortionist, they banned Mana Crypt, and then they banned the oh shoot, they banned Nadu too. Like I think that was really a given. But they banned these 3 cards, and they also banned another one that, of course, like escapes me, that I know is like Jeweled Lotus, that one, because it's like 99.9% useless in any constructed format that isn't Commander. But nonetheless, these cards were banned. Obviously, Jeweled Lotus and Mana Crypt are cards that are, essentially chase cards for the Commander format. Jeweled Lotus literally uses mana to cast your Commander, and like I said, it's essentially useless and constructed. There are some ways that you can kind of circumvent what Jeweled Lotus is doing to actually be able to cast spells, but it's a little convoluted, and there's only like one deck in Legacy that kind of does it, and quite frankly, it's probably not as good as some of the other things you could do in that format. But nonetheless, these cards got banned, and a lot of players were very, very, very upset by it. You'd kind of see, like what was even the consideration here? Why were these cards banned? And then we've seen other community members that were a part of, essentially this consultation team to the commander committee, and they were not fans of necessarily banning things like Dockside Distortionist, Jeweled Lotus, and the Mana Crypts and things like that. So all this controversy, and for the weeks leading up to it, we've seen people resign from those positions, and we've seen people quite frankly be afraid for their life. There was a lot of death threats and malicious messages, and a lot of conspiracy theories flying around about the committee and things like that. And unfortunately, within a week, we have seen now essentially this community-driven rules committee that I think for the most part has probably done some good. Has done a lot of good, more than it has hurt the community. And I think with all the threats and everything like that, we see this decision coming out today. So reading through the article a little bit more, uh, below and over the next few days and weeks, we will be discussing quite a bit about commanders, starting with the most pressing. Over the past week, the conversations have escalated, culminating with unacceptable personal threats to the safety of members of the Commander Rules Committee. This is something we will not tolerate. No matter how you feel about something in Magic, it is never appropriate to threaten somebody. Everyone at Wizards of the Coast is united on this front. We will not hesitate to take action against individuals who threaten to harm community members or employees, which is like an absolutely unhinged thing that players could be so upset. And I understand that there's probably some commander players that have been playing forever. They probably own 30, 40, 50 decks. They all have Mana Crypt. They all have Jeweled Lotus in it. They probably spent tons and tons of money. There are also other players that have spent tons and tons of money out there, even other like content creators, whatever, and they are not making threats to the point of personal harm to other people in the community, which is just like a truly sickening thing to think about in a game where we essentially get to play this game for fun, and for a lot of people it is something that they do for fun. So now, essentially, with all this stuff going on now, today, in partnership with members of the existing rules committee, because remember there were some that did resign very shortly after, within like the week since the announcement of the BNR for them. We are announcing that the rules committee is giving management of the commander format to the game design team of Wizards of the Coast. Commander has always been a community-focused format, and this move in management does not change that. While ownership of the format may be changing, the members of the Rules Committee and other community in the community will continue to be involved, and the vision of the social format will not change. We've had some preliminary conversations already about what we would like to accomplish, and some ideas we will be rolling out together in the months to come. Working with the community to craft this format is critical to all of us. We have opened up a new Discord channel on the official Magic Discord in the hashtag Commander_news channel that will also have a weekly MTG stream starting tomorrow, October 1st at 10 a.m. Pacific time, which I believe then translates to 1 p.m. Eastern time. So this basically just saying that like now Wizards is assuming control of what exists of the rules committee and going to be making the decisions going forward, which I don't think is necessarily a bad thing. But the fact that a move like this has come when Commander is probably one of the biggest and arguably the biggest like community driven format in Magic that a lot of people obviously participate in. It's a way that people learn playing the game because so many people end up playing it, and sometimes it's the only format that people play, and it's just absolutely insane that it has come to this. And I really cannot stress that point enough, how stupid it is that there were so many people that issued death threats and other forms of physical or mental emotional violence, whether with the intention to actually do it or not. The threats are still threats nonetheless, and is enough to really get people in trouble, which is kind of fucked up if you think about it. Uh, well, this is still very early, so this is what next. What's next? We do want to share one of the things that we started working on with the rules committee: a more objective approach to deck power level and additional guidance and shared language for players to find games that match the type of game they're trying to play. It isn't anywhere near finished yet, but the part of building this with the community, we're opening up to feedback, thoughts, and your version of how this will look. This is what this Wow. English is hard. Reading is especially hard too, being a Magic player. Think of this as an open beta. So here's the idea. So there are four power brackets, and every commander deck can be placed in one of those brackets by examining the card and combinations in your deck and comparing them to lists that will need community help to create. Which I believe that Moxfield and all these other know, uh, deck building like websites and things like that, like EDA Trek as well. Where we have like various stats among decks that have been uploaded and things like that to, I'm sure, kind of help in this situation. You can imagine one bracket is the baseline and average pre-constructed deck, or below and bracket 4 is high power. For the low tiers, it may lean in a mixture of cards and descriptions how the deck functions, and the higher tiers are likely to find more explicit list of cards. For example, you can imagine a bracket 1. The bracket 1 has cards that can easily go into any deck, like Swords of Plowshares, Grave Titan, and Cultivate, whereas bracket 4 would be cards like Vampiric Tier, Armageddon, and Grand Monolith, cards that make the games too much more consistent, lopsided, or faster than the average deck can engage with. In this system, the deck can be defined by its highest bracket card or cards. This makes it clear what cards go where and the kinds of cards you would expect people to be playing. For example, Age Tomb is a bracket 4 card, and your deck would generally be considered a 4. But if part of the Tombed theme deck in the conversation, my deck is a 4 with Ancient Tomb, but a 2 without it. Is that okay with everyone? So essentially, this is kind of like uh, how I would expect players to like kind of regulate themselves in this sort of way. I think that if you kind of have this bracket style thing that they're talking about, then I think that you can come up with something that would be kind of just a good general like blanket thing. But at the end of the day, a lot of players play this format very casually. I'm surprised that a band announcement would hurt many players that bad. It seems like it's more financially driven, at least for some of the players, than it is actual competitive diversity or how the competitive formats kind of shake out. From that point, of course, I am not like that ingrained into like Commander and everything like that, so I can't tell you one way or another, or pinpoint exactly uh, to the smallest point where players have just kind of this contention to the point where they are going to be willing to, or at least talk about publicly inflicting harm onto people that try to make their game that supposedly they enjoy, and at least for the people that ran the committee, enjoy it very, very much to the point where they're willing to kind of balance their own careers and their own lives and stuff going on to this game, and specifically to this format that in terms of like actual competitive, like qualifying for like the pro tour and things like that, like on that side of things, is not something that is supported, but is obviously heavily supported in like the product release that. So, very interesting to see. It also goes on to say we will also be evaluating the current banned card list alongside both Commander Rules Committee and the community. We will not ban additional cards as part of this evaluation. While discussion on the ban list started this, immediate changes to the list are not our priority. For now, the safety and well-being of the Rules Committee is priority. What has happened this past week is entirely unacceptable. By working together as a team, we can shoulder the responsibility of this format and everything that comes along with it. And it says to stay tuned for the weekly MTG that's going to go up tomorrow, October 1st at 10 a.m. Pacific time and, of course, 1 a.m. Eastern time. So essentially, this whole article it feels like it's shaming a lot of like the Commander community. Obviously, not every player that plays Commander has said something bad or to like the degree that is pointed out into this article, but nonetheless, the voice of I would hope is the minority is so loud and deafening in this situation that the company that runs the game and everything felt the need to contact essentially a community driven thing and say, hey, like we know this isn't cool and everyone is like this is not cool. You know, uh, Essentially now like it's out of the community's hands. Granted, it is still going to be a community thing, and at like the local level, you'll still be able to play whatever cards you want to play, or ban whatever cards that your local meta wants to ban, whether it's at your store or your play group, whatever. That's something that is not going to change. But if you're someone that just says like this is easier to follow the banned and restricted announcements from uh, the regional community, the RC means something completely different to me than it does Commander, and I'm just stuck on regional championship. But nonetheless, you're able to kind of regulate it on like a local level. And if you plan on actually going to like CEDH tournaments and stuff, this is something you have to follow. And now it's kind of out of the community's hands. This is, I think, overall probably a good thing. I think I'm in agreement with a lot of people in the community. This is something that, like especially with the threats is pretty unhinged to say the least on a lot of these people. And hopefully the people that are involved into the community of the rules committee of the commander ban list and everything like that, and anybody that's involved with it in some way, hopefully they're safe. That there's not actually anything that has played out. As far as I know, there's nothing that's actually come to fruition on actual like threats being carried out towards people, which is a very good thing, but nonetheless a scary thing to kind of think about when again, just something like this spawned so much hate and everything like that. And whether in the commander communities, another content creators community, or especially in my community, like death threats, hate, things like that are just not acceptable in any manner for whatever reason. Hate is a terrible thing, and it makes people do crazy and unhinged things. And I think we kind of saw, like the vitriol of what a community can do, especially to like something that's a part of the community, something that has, again by a small number of people for one of the most popular formats in Magic. And a lot of those players like felt the need to step away in some capacity, whether altogether or from their advisory role, whatever it is, and then just kind of go back to doing their own thing because the community has shown a lot of love and then can also show massive amounts of hate to the point where again people are to where we have a situation like this, something that within a week's time we got something like this. So very unfortunate. I hope everyone involved in it is safe, and I hope that Magic players just learn to, back the fuck up and calm down for a minute because, like I said, this is absolutely crazy to think that this could happen. And I don't think I've ever seen Magic players or anything like that, at least for standard, modern, pioneer, legacy, things like that. I don't think I've ever seen or heard anybody really give like death threats and stuff like that to WotC over cards getting banned, where maybe there's some disagreements. But Commander obviously is at least one of those examples that where we have kind of this the whole community kind of with their eyes on it and looking and saying, "Hey, like this isn't cool," or like some of the other prominent figures in not cool. But that's enough. I've rambled on enough about it. Don't hate people. Spread peace, love, and positivity. Like you don't have to necessarily live by those words, but for stuff like this, it just isn't worth threatening someone else's life or making someone else feel unsafe in something like this. For what reason? There is no good reason to make people feel like they cannot enjoy the game that they play. So, if you play Commander, I feel bad for you because the community is definitely getting a bad look at it, especially since it also just gets a bad look from other people because there is a lot of product that goes into Commander and a lot of work, and it seems like a lot of design philosophy then ends up kind of shifting towards Commander. And the fact that like kind of all this stuff has happened over the course of like a few years is something that looks good on the Commander community. But we can look at this objectively and know that the majority of the community is not unhinged like some of the far out there players might be in the Commander community. But nonetheless, the that minority, hopefully the super minority of people that have done this sort of heinous thing in Commander, are very loud, unfortunately, and their voice is very deafening right now. So try to spread some positivity today. That's all I got. Of course, if you've made it to the end of this video, thank you so much for watching the video. If you're not already subscribed, please consider doing so. Ring that notification bell. All that fun, happy stuff. Check out the links in the description down below. Join the Discord server. I'm going to the regional championship in Washington D.C. It's gonna be a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to seeing some people there that are part of my community and everything like that. I think it'd be really cool to be able to interact with them. And yeah, that's gonna be this video. Hope you all enjoyed it, and I'll catch you all tomorrow.